Over 5 million of us have been watching the latest series of the Great British Sewing Bee.
This is the pattern challenge.
Yeah.
And following the pattern
It's very important.
is quite key.
Very key.
It's got a slightly scarecrow feeling to it. I mean, it's probably a little uncomfortable to wear, but it is doing something very dramatic.
1 hour left, sewers. You have 1 hour left.
Oh, my goodness.
Guys, we've got to be quicker or I'm going to look silly.
I love that. Judge Patrick Grant joins me now. How are you?
I'm very well. Wearing the same top as I was in that little clip there.
Yeah, well, of course you are.
Recycle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're a perfect example of what you stand for. This is your 10th sewing bee now.
It is, yeah.
It's gone so quick.
It has. The beard's gone a lot. I mean, well, actually, the grey tash is a clear indicator of how many years have passed, because they showed a clip of Series 1 the other day, and it was full, dark beard. I looked about...
Yeah.
I mean, I've aged 30 years in a decade.
I'm the same when I look at old Masked Singer stuff of me, first series. I'm like, oh, no, what has gone wrong?
Yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad. This show has become so huge. Like, over 5 million people watching it. I think, sort of inspired a generation to sort of get sewing, pick up those knitting needles.
It's had a very quiet, positive effect on the way we think about clothes, on the way we think about what makes us happy.
Yeah.
People are going back to making clothes, not because it's a kind of economic imperative, because, of course, you can buy clothes for so little now, but they're doing it because it makes them feel good, because it expresses something about their personality, because it's doing something good for the planet. And, you know, so many of our contestants this year only started sewing because they'd watched Sewing Bee. So we've got this, you know, we've got the youngest set of contestants we've ever had. We've also got the oldest contestant we've ever had, and possibly two of the most unusual contestant we've ever had. That little clip we showed earlier on. I mean, there are people showing things on TV that I would not be showing the general public, but, you know, that afternoon delight that Janet showed us, we're, pretty brave.
Honestly, it's so brilliant. And Kyle's hosting temporarily. He's so brilliant, isn't he?
He's so good. We had so much fun with him as a celebrity contestant on the Christmas. I mean, his sewing skills, not up there, but his general demeanour. He's so great with the contestants. He's so easygoing. I mean, he also, you know, he's just a lovely, funny guy.
And your latest book, Less, I must show the cover. It's so good, and it's about, you know, trying to think about the way we shop now.
It is. I think you know, one of the things that Sewing Bee has done has made people think about what their clothes are made from and where they're made. You know, I'm sitting here, I can tell you exactly where every single piece of clothing I'm wearing has come from. And I think it's important. We forget that, you know, not that long ago, when I was born, almost everything we wore would have been made locally. You know, making our clothes and making our textiles employed over 1.5 million people in this country. And since that time, we've kind of outsourced all that production to the far side of the world. The clothes we wear have got much cheaper, but they've got nastier, the fabrics are bad, and we've lost almost 1.5 million jobs, and those jobs were really, really important to our community. The way we shop, where we buy, can have a really positive impact on communities locally. And so the book is about how we've got to this point where we feel compelled to buy new stuff all the time. You know, the book is about trying to just take stock, you know, everywhere we look. I mean, even on TV, you know, we're seeing people wearing new clothes all the time. I was talking to your wardrobe team about you guys, and you guys do better than some. But it's still like, why do we have to wear new stuff all the time? There's this machine that's making us feel anxious.
Yeah.
And actually just stepping back and saying, you know what? The things that really make me happy are, you know, a nice cup of tea, sitting in the sun, you know, doing a bit of gardening, growing some spuds, taking the dog for a walk. That stuff we know makes us happy. But we're being conditioned into buying new stuff, and it makes us anxious, it makes us a bit depressed, and actually just having the confidence to say, you know what? I love the clothes I have.
Yeah.
And I'm going to feel confident enough to say no to all of that pressure, and then we can choose to maybe buy a couple of fewer things, but put our money where we know it makes sense. You know, we all work hard for our money. We can choose to spend our money in ways that does a load of good.
Yeah, and I think that you talk about the social pressure. I think it's a huge thing. I think it's with social media and things like that. Must have a new outfit all the time. You know, even being on telly, it's a thing of like, you know, I think it affects women more than men, but this constant pressure of like, I must have a new dress, I must do this, I must do that. But I really loved the fact that you talked about really sort of thinking about what actually makes you happy in the first place. It's really... You've moved to Yorkshire. Does that make you happy?
It does. Well, I mean, I'm in London a lot. I still love being in London. But, you know, just there is a lot of research that tells us that really the simple pleasures in life are the things that really make the most impact. You know, there's a little quote in the book from a book by Bill Bryson called Notes from a Small Island that talks about how the Brits used to be the best nation on the planet for just being happy with a few simple things. He talks about, you know, he talks about just a cup of tea and a biscuit. Like, if we get offered a bit of cake, we feel a bit like, ooh, that's a bit too much. You know, just a nice, rich tea will do us fine. And remembering that just spending time with family, actually craft is one of those things that we know makes us happy. And actually, by losing all those making jobs that we used to have in this country, not only have we taken away opportunities from lots of people for whom that would have been their career path in life, but that work is really good work. And now, you know, people with a lot of money go and make pottery and do thatching and do all this stuff for fun. That was people's work in the past. And we've sort of sleepwalked into this situation where we've outsourced all those actually quite pleasant making jobs, and we haven't really replaced them with anything. I think it's time we just had a think about where we want our society and the work we do to go, and that's what the book is all about.
I genuinely think it's really, really interesting, Patrick. Thank you so, so much. The Great British Sewing Bee is on Tuesday at 9 p.m. on BBC One.